Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about 15 reasons Black support for Trump is exploding. The media keeps obsessing over poll numbers, trying to figure out if Black support for Trump is growing. They're asking the wrong question. The real question isn't if it's happening. The question is why. And the answer isn't buried in some polling memo. It's happening in barbershops, on job sites. Lord knows it happens at my job site all the time, and family group chats. This isn't about poll numbers. It's about real cultural and economic shift. Today, we're breaking down 15 real-world reasons a growing number of Black men are siding with Donald Trump and what it means for the future of American politics. For decades, the political playbook was simple. The Black vote belonged to the Democratic Party. It was treated as one of the most solid, unbreakable voting blocs in American history. But the ground is shifting. While Black voters as a whole still lean heavily Democratic, a significant and growing number of Black men are breaking away. Polling from after the 2024 election shows Trump support among Black men is hitting around 21%, a dramatic jump from his 12% share in 2020. This isn't a statistical fluke, it's a movement. And it's not happening for the reasons the mainstream media is selling you. This is a story about money, culture, and a deep frustration with the way things are. So let's get into the real reasons, starting with the one that hits everyone's wallet: the economic earthquake. Reason number 15, the wallet doesn't lie. The number one issue driving this shift, the economy, is not that complicated. People remember what their bank accounts look like. For a lot of working class guys, the Trump years are remembered as a time of financial stability and opportunity. They remember lower gas prices, more jobs, and a feeling that things were on the right track. Rightly or wrongly, the simple idea of Trump's low prices hit harder than complex economic reports about inflation because it matched what people were feeling every day. When you're choosing between filling up your tank or buying groceries, a little nostalgia for a better economy is a powerful thing. Reason number 14, the promise of entrepreneurship. Beyond just a steady paycheck, Trump pushed a message of Black capitalism and self-sufficiency that really struck a chord. Policies like the opportunity zones were marketed as a way to drive investment directly into the underserved communities. Now, while experts still debate how much of that investment actually trickled down to empower local Black entrepreneurs, the symbolism was potent. It felt like an invitation to build and own a piece of the American pie. A totally different message than one that sounded like perpetual dependency. Reason number 13, the rejection of Bidenomics. While the Biden administration was touting historically low unemployment numbers, that message just wasn't landing for many people. On the ground, the lived experience was one of crushing inflation that ate up any raise you might have gotten. The cost of everything from groceries to rent went through the roof, and that pain was sharp. There's a deep-seated feeling that while the stock market might be great for some, the working man is getting left in the dust. The economic relief promised by the Democrats felt abstract, but the pain of inflation felt very, very real. Reason number 12, the immigration equation. This is an issue that makes most commentators nervous, but it's part of the conversation. So we're going to talk about it. In some barbershops and on some job sites, you'll hear frustration over the illegal immigration. For some, there's a perception that while the focus is on the needs of the new arrivals, the needs of Black citizens, especially in big cities, are being ignored. Per usual, it's seen as a fight for the same scarce resources: jobs, housing, and social services. Trump's hard line on the border and his America First slogan, for better or worse, connects with men who feel like their communities have been put on the back burner. Reason number 11, the First Step Act. a tangible result. Politics often boils down to, what have you actually done for me? The First Step Act, a major criminal justice reform bill that Trump signed in 2018, is a concrete answer. This wasn't just talk, it was action that addressed the mass incarceration that has torn apart the Black community. The act made the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010 retroactive, tackling the huge sentencing disparities between crack and powder cocaine. Because of that, thousands of people had their sentences reduced and came home to their families. The impact on the Black community was undeniable. About 91% of those who received reduced sentences for crack cocaine offenses specifically were Black. 91%, y'all. For many, that single act meant more than decades of promises from Democrats. All right, y'all, we've just covered the economic case. If any of this is making sense to you, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so this channel can grow. We're about to dive into cultural reasons next, and you're not going to want to miss it. Section 2, the cultural rebellion. Okay, reason number 10, the appeal of unfiltered masculinity. In an era that a lot of people see as getting increasingly soft, Trump's brand of raw, unapologetic masculinity has a serious appeal. It's the polar opposite of what many view as the Democratic Party's focus on sensitivity and being politically correct. For a lot of men, there's a real fatigue with being told how to think and what to say. Trump's brash, off-the-cuff style isn't seen as a bug, it's a feature. They see it as a strength and authenticity, a willingness to fight back and connect with men who feel like the traditional masculinity itself is under attack. Reason number 9, the anti-male vibe of the left. This ties right into the last point. A growing number of men, especially younger guys, feel like modern progressive culture isn't for them. They hear political language that feels broadly critical of men, and they see a party that seems to celebrate every other identity group while either ignoring them or pointing a finger at them. That sense of cultural alienation is real. When one side seems to be criticizing you and the other is saying, I'm on your team, the choice gets a lot simpler for some. It's a vote against feeling demonized. Reason number 8, the rejection of woke culture. Constant debates over gender pronouns, critical race theory, and other progressive social issues can feel totally disconnected from what people are actually worried about: safety, family, and money. Many see the Democratic Party as being driven by an academic, woke agenda that's out of touch with the working class. They're not interested in debating complex social theories. They're interested in affording rent and feeling safe in their neighborhoods. Trump's laser focus on simple core issues feel like a breath of fresh air to this group. Reason number 7, the hip hop connection. You can't ignore culture. For decades, Trump was a fixture in hip hop, name dropped in hundreds of songs as an icon of money and power long before he got into politics. That created a strange kind of familiarity and even admiration that goes beyond politics. When influential rappers and cultural figures show they're willing to meet with Trump, it gives other people social permission to consider him. It breaks the taboo and sends a signal that supporting him doesn't automatically mean you're betraying your culture. Reason number 6, the enemy of my enemy effect. Many people in the Black community have a deep and well-earned distrust of the media and government. For years, they felt misrepresented and targeted by these institutions. So when those exact same institutions declared an all-out war on Donald Trump, it created an unlikely connection. The thinking is pretty simple. If the people I already don't trust are all united against this one guy, maybe he's not so bad. His constant claims of being persecuted by a corrupt system resonates with the community that knows exactly what that feels like. Section 3, the political breakup. Reason number 5. Before I do reason number 5, I'm going to ask you guys again, subscribe to the channel so you can get more content like this and this channel can grow. Reason number 5, feeling taken for granted. This might be the biggest political reason of all. There's a powerful, growing feeling that the Democratic Party just assumes it will get the black vote without having to work for it. Voters see politicians show up every 4 years making the same old promises only to disappear until the next election while nothing really changes back home. That feeling of being taken for granted has created a deep sense of frustration and a new openness to looking at other options. It's not just a vote, it's a demand for respect. Reason number 4, Trump shows up. Contrast that feeling with Trump's strategy. He created a perception of engagement by making high profile stops in places Republicans usually ignore. A visit to a black church in Detroit, a round table with community leaders in Philadelphia. Even if critics call it all political theater, the act of simply showing up sends a powerful message. It signals a level of respect and a refusal to write off any voter, which is a stark difference from being ignored. Reason number 3, the generational divide. Younger black men just don't have the same automatic loyalty to the Democratic Party that their parents and grandparents do. Their political views wasn't forged during the civil rights movement when Democrats championed the cause. Their experience is with a political system they feel has failed them, no matter who's in charge. They are more politically independent, more transactional with their vote, and way more willing to break from tradition if they think it's in their best interest. Reason number 2, a desire for strong leadership. When you look at polling, one of the words that pops up over and over to describe Donald Trump, even from people who can't stand him, is strong. In a world that feels more and more chaotic, people crave decisive leadership. Trump's entire persona, with all its controversy, projects strength. For voters who feel their communities are in crisis, the idea of a fighter who's willing to shatter norms to get things done is incredibly appealing. And reason number 1, breaking the monolith. Ultimately, this all comes down to self-determination. It's a flat-out rejection of the idea that all black people are a monolith who have to think, act, and vote the same way. There's a rising desire to be seen as individuals with a wide range of opinions, not as a predictable demographic that can be managed. For some, supporting Trump is the ultimate act of political independence. It's a statement that says, you don't own my vote. You don't get to define my blackness. I'll think for myself. Thank you. So what does it all mean? This isn't just a blip in the polls. It's the beginning of a real shift in American politics. The movement of more black men towards Donald Trump is a complex story rooted in real economic frustration, a growing cultural divide, and decades of feeling ignored by the political establishment. It's a major warning shot to the Democratic Party that the old political alliances are starting to crack. This is more than a trend, it's a rebellion against the status quo. It's a declaration that the days of taking any community's vote for granted are over. The game is changing and it will never be the same. But that's my take. What do you think? Which of these reasons hit home for you? Is there anything I missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll read all of them. And if you want to keep exploring the trends that are reshaping America, make sure you like the video and subscribe and hit the little notification bell so you never miss an update. And thanks for watching 15 Reasons Black Support for Trump is Exploding. Peace.